Hi, everyone. Uh, I'm Atta, and I'm going to explain about the central bankers' pivot from rescue to recovery after the record recession. And this article was originally written on the Bloomberg Business Week. Before I dive into the discussion, I want to explain some of the terminologies which might help you to understand better. The first one is central bank. And bank is basically a governmental institution or authority that oversees and manages the currency and monetary policy of a state or country. And it also monitors the commercial banking system in that specific country. Second one is the interest rate. And interest rate is basically the amount of interest due per period as a portion of the amount lent, deposited, or borrowed. Next one is ECB. ECB, which stands for European Central Bank, and it covers the Eurozone economies and has 19 state members. And the final terminology is BOJ, which is basically Bank of Japan or Central Bank of Japan. Next, I'm going to explain about what actually happened. And as I'm explaining, please have a look at the map. As you can see that the blue colors show the countries that there was no change in the interest rate, and the red shows the countries that reduced their interest rates. And as the coronavirus continues, many markets are finding ways to survive. Central banks are shifting from a survival mode to more an optimistic recovery approach. The Federal Reserve Bank in the US has set their interest rate at 0.25% and will keep it this low until the US economy reaches a 2.0% inflation rate and the market approaches recovery, because a 2.0% inflation is considered a very healthy inflation rate. And likewise, the ECB has put the interest rate at minus 0.5% as since the coronavirus has hit their economies very hard. And Bank of Japan has set the interest rate at minus 0.1% and continues helping many other companies to find funding. And the Central Bank of England and Canada has put their interest rates, although positive, but very low, so that more people can find it easy to borrow money. And many other banks, such as the Central Bank of China and the Central Bank of India, have set their interest rates at around 3 to 4%. The Central Bank of Nigeria has set their interest rates at 11.5%, which is significantly high. Next, I'm going to explain about the why and the potential impacts that it has had. Governments around the world are responsible for how their economies are doing and how their countries are doing. And in order to have more influence on the market and money, so central banks manipulate the interest rates. And through adjusting the interest rates, the central banks are able to some extent to have and insert more control on the market and how money flows and how it affects the market. And as the coronavirus has shocked the global economy, central banks are trying to regain the control of their economies and also to manage it more towards recovery mode. And the potential impacts that it has had is that most central banks have set their interests low. And one of the global impacts of COVID has been a decline in economic activities, which means less circulation of money and therefore less growth. But the central banks in countries like Japan, US, Europe, and Canada, and many other countries are trying to change that by lowering their interest rates, which will make it cheaper for the corporation, companies, and also consumers to buy goods and borrow money so that the money can circulate. And this will help to the economy to recover faster. And in my opinion, lowering the interest rate in countries that are hit hard by a COVID-19 pandemic is a smart move, but it is not an enough move. Like there needs to be more steps taken, because borrowing money will become cheaper, yes, but in theory, more people will spend money. But in real life, it would not happen like that, because if people in that country are not sure if their economy gets well, they would not be sure if they can repay what they borrow now. so they would still hesitate to borrow. In conclusion, although it would help to set the interest rates quite low, but it would not be enough. The governments should provide more stimulus, such as money packages and other financial incentives. Thank you very much.